Well, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to see you. It's such a pleasure to have a sunny day and a great outlook and a beautiful view from my window as I get to talk to you today. Just makes every part of the day start off on a positive note. I I was thinking the other night about the type of language we use now. And there's a lot of language that uses initials that stand for things, especially when you're texting. And we'll get onto that in just a few minutes. But there's also another type of language that we use quite frequently that's called an acronym, which is actually formed by combining the first letters of each word in a phrase. Um, the difference lies in how they are pronounced. The first letter of each word in a phrase is combined to create one single word, which is pronounced together phonically. Uh, and one, I guess, of the most common ones that I've heard in a while is a word called YOLO. It's made up of the initial letters of the phrase, you only live once, to create a word that's pronounced YOLO. And a lot of people will, just in casual conversation, because it's a fairly familiar acronym, they'll say, YOLO, you only will live once. Uh, a lot of people think these are brand new things. Well, they aren't at all. I was actually surprised when I began looking into them, how uh, long acronyms have been used. They started being used quite frequently in the late 19th century, and here we are in the 21st century. The first known acronyms in English appeared in a telegraph code developed in 1879 for the United Press Association. Among the acronyms was SCOTUS, which is the Supreme Court of the United States, and POT for President of the United States. In 1995, that evolved into POTUS, uh, President of the United States. They added the US to it. Don't know why, but they did. At any rate, acronyms really took off with the rise of computers and the internet, and then later exploded with texting and social media. Uh, Writing can be a little bit boring. It's intensive, and we're always looking for ways to economize on space and the amount of effort we have to put into it. Some popular acronyms that I use from time to time uh, actually stand almost alone. I almost have forgotten what the initial words that we took the initials from to form the acronym. One that I'm sure most of you are familiar with is ASAP, as soon as possible. Then there's GOAT, the greatest of all times. And I during the Olympics and the Super Bowl, you hear words, well, any sport for that matter, you tend to hear GOAT thrown out a good bit, and people understand when you refer to someone as a GOAT that they're the greatest of all time. Then there's the one that I use for myself a lot, and that is KISS, which means keep it simple, silly. Don't make it so hard and difficult. KISS, keep it simple, silly. And you can just say KISS and remind yourself mentally, hey, don't go that far out in the weeds. You don't need to. Just keep it simple. And then there's PACE, which stands for positive attitude changes everything. If you're being a negative Nelly, that's a word that I sometimes use for myself is Pace, Barbara, pace. Then there's SMART. And I think that's probably one that most everyone has used at one time or another when you're talking about goal setting, and that you need to make sure that whatever goal you set is SMART. It's specific, it can be measured, it can be attained, it's realistic, and it's timely. Again, you don't have to go through the process of all those words. SMART goals, that's just what you think of: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Then there's one that from time to time I find myself calling upon, uh, especially when my boys were young. And someone would say, "How's it going?" And I say, "Well, it's snafu as usual." And they look at you and I'd say, "Situation normal, all fouled up." And again, that's a good way of reminding yourself that this is not unusual, that things get messed up from time to time. No, this is a pretty normal situation in my house at this time of life. And then there's one uh, also that I use as a shortcut called SOP, which is Standard Operating Procedure. They say, "Well, why are you doing it that way?" And I'll just say, "Well, it's SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. That's the way we usually do things." So what's the point of creating an acronym anyway? They're actually created as shortcuts to shorten phrases, names, or technical terms into easier to remember pronounceable words. Uh, One that we use all the time is PIN. If you're using the computer, sometimes it'll ask you for your PIN. And well, PIN stands for personal identification number. So instead of saying personal identification number, very often we'll use the acronym PIN. Uh, Acronyms actually improve communication, efficiency, save space when you're writing, and help jog your memory sometimes. They are primarily used to reduce redundancy, enhance readability, save space, and provide consistency. Uh, they actually should be defined initially just to be sure everybody's on the same page, and use sparingly. They don't replace words. Uh, this artificially created word should be used sparingly, and context matters. You want to be sure that you're only using an acronym in a group where that acronym is recognized by almost everyone in the group. Um, Very often, we develop for ourselves personal acronyms. And I think that's one thing that helps me if I feel like I'm getting off target. I actually have a personal acronym that calls me back to myself when I get out there wandering in the weeds, or get discouraged, or uh, lose my sense of focus. Um, it's a custom created word or phrase representing something meaningful. It helps me self focus. It even may contain memorial uh, words that have specific meaning only to me and make it memorable. It's often used to guide behavior, to set goals, or to represent personal values. Uh, Unlike standard abbreviations, these are designed specifically to enhance focus. One classic example is the word think as an acronym to represent talent, hope, insight, niceness, and keeping moving forward, keeping on. Uh, that's a word that you can say and nobody's going to look at you and wonder if you've lost your mind. You just murmur to yourself, think, and that's what comes to mind to you in that special situation. Shorthand for personal phrases that hold significance to a person and are often used in personal planning, self improvement, or reinforcing whatever plan you have going for yourself at the moment. Creating a personal acronym can keep you focused on what matters most to you at this particular point in time. Writing one forms a word created by combining the first letter of each word in a significant phrase or group of words that you have chosen or keywords to create a single recall word. Um, just so you know that there is a difference, and I'm aware of it, we shouldn't be confusing acronyms with what is called initialism. Uh, an initialism is an abbreviation that uses the first word of each letter in a phrase, uh, but instead of creating a new word, each letter is stated individually. It doesn't form an actual word. It just is a set of recognized ignition. That's a hard word to say. Uh, it forms a set of letters from the first letter of each word in whatever the phrase is. Those pop up with regular frequency in text messages, especially, or if you're talking on the phone. And the difference is that you pronounce that letter individually, like BTY, by the way. That's not an acronym, but it is in initials that represent a group of words. BRB, be right back. DIY, do it yourself. FYI, for your information. LOL, laughing out loud. TTYL, talk to you later. I think we've all seen these and many other ones, some of which I have no clue what they mean. And it's sort of fun to try to ferret out the secret meaning and what the words, the initials represent are. But be that as it may, those are not the same as an acronym. And just to totally confuse the issue, just for the fun of it, going back to ASAP, it can be both an acronym as a word, ASAP, or it can be initialism, ASAP. We've both used, I think, ASAP and ASAP. And that's a fun fact. It's both, just so you can't possibly get it all wrapped around in your brain. You can say it either way you want, but it's clear either way that you need whatever the thing is as soon as possible. For me today, my acronym is formed from my nickname, which is Barb. I know I'm still scratching my head as I ponder another initial word, which is BTY. And that one is actually one that you have to understand is not possible to be pronounced as a word. How would you pronounce BTY? So that one clearly is not an acronym. I can't even imagine how it would sound. So my word, which I'd like to share with you today, which comes from my nickname, is this. Whenever I am in a situation where I'm struggling. And we all know that we struggle with many things throughout the course of a day. Uh, there are challenges that arise that you have to um, pause and consider carefully before making decisions moving forward. I will mutter under my breath, barb, 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 barb. And to me, that means breathe. And I'm a great one for act, actually feeling that, taking a deep breath helps centers us, gives us a few moments to collect our thoughts, and relaxes us. And maybe I'll take 2 or 3 deep breaths. So I will repeat to myself, barb, barb, barb. And this is what it means. First, it means breathe. Then it means adapt. Maybe you've run into a roadblock and something just isn't working out the way that you thought it might. And keeping on trying to do it the same way that you've always done it really isn't working well. And I'll say to myself, Barb, adapt, adapt. You can do this. You can make a change. You don't have to be stuck in the way it always was. And then I will say to myself, renew. And again, I'll breathe. I'll think about changing, and then I'll think about renewing the process, looking at it with different eyes from a different perspective in a different way. And then the last thing I will think of when I'm running Barb through my mind is balance. And I'll say to myself, you're all out of kilter here. It's never going to work unless you find your balance again. And everything is in harmony to help you move forward in whatever you're attempting to do. Uh, it helps me. I don't know if it'll help you or not, but that acronym, I will just in the course of a day, I'm sure people think I talk to myself a lot, but that's okay too. I will mutter that acronym to myself and I'll just say, Barb. And in my mind, I repeat those 4 words: breathe, adapt, renew, balance. It's amazing how better my perspective becomes when I just take a moment to recenter myself that way, just by calling myself back to myself. So I like acronyms. I find them quite useful in many, many ways throughout my day. I find them to be just what they are supposed to be. Shortcut reminders to focus on certain things as the need arises, made up of significant words to represent what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm on a journey here, and each day it's a little bit different, which doesn't make it unpleasant at all, makes it interesting every morning when I wake up. So I hope that you will take some time during the course of the day and think about an acronym for you. What's your first name? What's something that you say all the time? Uh, Another one that I just love is, and when I was getting ready to talk with you today, I almost used it instead, is pace. You know, Barb, pace yourself. Positive attitude changes everything. If your attitude stinks, you're probably not going to be making the progress in the direction as quickly as you wanted to go in the way you wanted to do it. So have fun today. And from Barb to you, have a great one. Talk to you later. Bye for now.